Windwalker monks use chi, energy and martial arts to overpower their opponents. And in Season 4, I'm going to show you how it all comes together in a beginner-friendly and digestible format with no information overload for both Raiding and Mythic Plus. For the stat priority, I always recommend that you try and get better and better gear, and by that I mean a higher and higher eye level of gear, and therefore agility, before thinking about the secondary stats. If you do want to look at what secondary stats are going to be more beneficial, this here is the overall priority. However, no two characters are the same, of course, and therefore you should always simulate your character if you're really not sure which gear is going to be better for you. And if you're not sure how to do that, then join our Discord and we will help you. But overall, just go for a higher agility and therefore eye level above all else, and you're going to be fine. For the talent trees, this one here on the left is for raiding and single target, the one on the right for AoE and Mythic Plus. There's import strings down in the description for both of these for you. And no, I'm not going to go through every individual talent, again, not to overwhelm you with information as a beginner, but I will show you all of the core and important ones. But before we do that, let's have a look at our cooldowns and utilities. Starting up top, we've got Storm, Earth and Fire, splitting into the Free Spirits with 2 dealing damage for you. Invoke Zhwen, the White Tiger, summoning a tiger to attack our target. More on this in the rotation part of the video. Diffuse Magic. This is going to reduce your magic damage taken and also, if possible, mirror some of that damage back to your nasty attacker. Dampen Harm, another defensive, quite simply reducing damage taken. We do have quite a lot of utility spells as a Windwalker monk, and I don't want to go through all of them because there's so many. But when you're more comfortable with the spec, I would advise looking through your spellbook at everything you do have at your disposal. 2 of the really fun ones, and my favourite one, is Ring of Peace. This creates a ring, and enemies basically get pushed out of it and cannot enter it. It quite literally is a ring of peace that you and your allies can enter. This is one of the best utilities, honestly, I think is in the whole game for keeping your allies safe in moments of need. Then we have Roll, where you can roll a short distance. This is a great mobility ability if you need to step out of something or get out of the way of a breath or frontal, etc. Moving swiftly on, we're going to look at the rotation, starting off with single target first. You may notice here my UI is quite different. Well, I've actually custom made this with an add-on called Elv UI and a few other mods as well. If you want to copy this UI, it's quite minimalistic, then you can actually get this by joining my Patreon, which of course also in turn supports the channel and helps me put out these videos in my spare time. The link down to that is below in the description. It also gets you access to a VIP channel in Discord where you can ask questions, and also other resources and guides that I have written specifically towards beginners on my Patreon as well. Another thing on the UI here is this here in the center. This is a weak aura by Luxfos for monks. It's showing all of your core cooldowns, buffs and resources in one singular location in the middle of the screen, so it's straight in your eye line. You will see that we as monks have energy, and apart from that we also use something called chi. And you can see here I'm building up chi, which we have 6 of, as I'm using some of our abilities. And some abilities will generate chi and some will spend it. So looking at the actual rotation then, the first thing we're always going to want to do at the start is invoke Zhwen the White Tiger. Summons the effigy of Zhwen, and there he is, for 20 seconds, attacking your primary target and striking 3 enemies within 10 yards, every 0.7 seconds with Tiger Lightning. Every 4 seconds, Zhwen strikes your enemies with empowered Tiger Lightning, dealing 10% of the damage you've dealt to those targets in the last 4 seconds. We want to use this on cooldown, and from left to right is going to be our priority. Try not to think of it as a rotation that we're rotating through, but more of a priority list that we're going down until we can find something available to use. Of course, it's more nuanced than that, and we're going to talk through that. But that's a general way you should be looking at it. The next then is going to be Touch of Death. It's a 3-minute cooldown as well. You exploit the enemy's target's weakest point, instantly killing them if they have less health than you. Deals damage equal to 35% of your maximum health against players and stronger creatures under 15% health. Basically then, use this whenever you can on cooldown. It does a lot of damage. It's also going to grant 3 chi spheres, granting 1 chi when you walk through them. I can't show you that because obviously the target dummy is at full health, annoyingly. But they're like little things of air, clouds, if you will, and you just walk through them and they give you chi. Then we have Expel Harm on a 15-second cooldown, expel negative chi from your body, healing for a little bit, and dealing some of that healing as damage to any enemy within 20 yards. Now, we're going to use this and the next one, Tiger Palm, at this point in the priority list if we don't have a lot of chi and we're going to cap on energy. You can see here I am capped on energy. I'm already maxed out on chi, but imagine we weren't. This one is going to generate 1 chi. So as long as you have 5 or less chi, you should be using Expel Harm. It costs 15 energy, so we want to be using this if we've got loads of energy available to us, like we have now. Then the next one is Tiger Palm. Again, this generates 3 chi. So we don't want to use this if we've got like 5 chi, only if we've already got less than that. We don't want to be over-capping as much as possible with our chi. Strike with the palm of your hand, dealing damage. Tiger Palm has an 8% chance to make your next Blackout Kick cost no chi. And that one is this one down here, Blackout Kick. Then we've got Jade Fire Stomp. So quite simple so far, basically just use these when you can, as long as you're not capping on energy, etc. Jade Fire Stomp is beautiful, as you can see here. Strike the ground fiercely to expose a path of jade for 30 seconds, dealing nature damage to up to 5 enemies and restoring health to up to 5 allies within 30 yards caught in the path. Up to 5 enemies caught in the path suffer an additional amount of damage. Your abilities have a 6% chance of resetting the cooldown of Jade Fire Stomp while fighting within the path. So TLDR on this one then, you want to use it pretty much on cooldown and then making sure that you are standing on it, as well as that your enemies are also standing on it. So we basically want to use this to drive a path into where we're going to be fighting. Next up is Strike of the Windlord. Use this on cooldown. It's on a 40-second cooldown. Strike with both fists at all enemies in front of you, dealing damage and reducing their movement speed. Pretty simple on that one. The next one is Spinning Crane Kick, and we're only going to use it at this point in the priority list if it gets a proc, and that's from the Dance of Chi Ji here. Spending Chi has a chance to make your next Spinning Crane Kick free and deal an additional 300% damage. We only want to use it at this part in the rotation if we have that proc. And you'll see it light up like this when it is procced. So when you see that Spinning Crane Kick light up like this, you know that that is safe to use and you're going to be doing an extra amount of damage with it. So again, only really using it at that point in the priority list at that point when it procs. Next up, we have Fists of Fury, pummeling all targets in front of us, dealing damage to our primary target. Again, this is going to actually cost 3 chi, and other damage to all other enemies over 3.6 seconds, dealing reduced damage beyond 5 targets. And that can be channeled while moving. When you use Fists of Fury, it's then going to invoke this buff here, Zhuen's Battle Gear, Rising Sun Kick critical strikes, reduce the cooldown of Fists of Fury by 4 seconds. And also, when Fists of Fury ends, the critical strike chance for Rising Sun Kick is increased by 40% for 5 seconds. So basically, these two here synergize really well together. After you use your Fists of Fury, it's going to buff your Rising Sun Kick. At that point, you should then use your Rising Sun Kick, which can help do a crit and reduce the cooldown of Fists of Fury. If that makes sense, they are symbiotic to each other, basically. After that, we're going to use our Blackout Kick, and we have the Teachings of the Monastery talent here. Tiger Palm makes your next Blackout Kick strike an additional time, stacking up to 3 times. Blackout Kick has a 12% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Rising Sun Kick. So again, that's your Tiger Palm enhancing your Blackout Kick. We want to use that with those buffs, and you'll see it on your buff bar, and it will be named Teachings of the Monastery. After that point, we're pretty much just going to be using our Spinning Crane Kick and our Chi Burst as filler, basically. You can use your Chi Burst on cooldown and then just use your Spinning Crane Kick if you've got nothing else to press. So let's just go over that one more time. We're going to use Invoke Zhuen the White Tiger on cooldown. We're going to use Touch of Death whenever possible. We're going to use our Expel Harm and Tiger Palm to generate Chi and make sure we're not capping on energy. We're going to keep down our Jade Fire Stomp where we are fighting at all times. Use our Strike of the Windlord on cooldown. Use Spinning Crane Kick only when we get a proc from it and it lights up. Use our Fists of Fury in synergy with our Rising Sun Kick. So use that and then that. That's going to help reduce the cooldown on that. And after 3 Tiger Palms, we're going to have 3 stacks of the Teachings of Monastery, where Tiger Palm causes your next blackout kick to strike an additional time. Again, when we've got 3 stacks of that, and you can see it on the weak aura if you do install it, that there's 3 there. So when I use it, it then goes. When I use Tiger Palm, you see 1 stack, 2 stack, and 3 stack. So if you do get this weak aura, it really helps track these kinds of buffs. And then we can use our blackout kick. After that, it's Chi Burst, and then Spinning Crane Kick if there's nothing else to press. And that is pretty much it for single target. Now, for the AoE build, you can pretty much do the same rotation. It will be absolutely fine. However, a few of the talents are going to change. When you look at things, like Jadefire Stomp and Spinning Crane Kick, Chi Burst, which is going to hurl a torrent of Chi forwards, dealing damage to everyone in its path, and Strike of the Windlord as well, which is going to strike at all enemies in front of you, you're realising that actually a lot of these abilities are already doing AoE and cleave damage. So it really is going to be fine. I think specifically as a beginner, you should just stay with this rotation. When we move over to the Mythic Plus build, you can see a few talents are changing. This one here basically just improves your Touch of Death. Touch of Death deals 20% increased damage and can be used a second time within 5 seconds. And Touch of Death strikes up to 4 additional nearby targets, therefore making that one an AoE one as well. The only thing I didn't mention before, I already mentioned Storm, Earth and Fire cooldown in the cooldowns part of the video, but in the single target build, we were actually not taking it. We're taking Serenity. Enter an elevated scent of mental and physical serenity. While in this state, you deal 15% increased damage and healing, and all chi consumers are free and cool down 100% more quickly. That is the talent that you do have in the single target build that you can use as well. The whoopsie, I forgot to mention, but you do have that available to you as well. The only last thing that I haven't mentioned still is the set bonus this season. And if you're wondering about that, it is already baked into the rotation I've shown you. But if you want to know what it does, basically it focuses on your Fists of Fury. When you use Fists of Fury, it will also actually enhance your Rising Sun Kick even further, increasing the damage dealt by the next 2 Rising Sun Kicks or Spinning Crane Kicks by 30%. And then the 4 set now instead enhances 3 of your next ones rather than 2, and those enhanced kicks are then actually going to enhance your Fists of Fury, and that stacks up to 3 times as well. So, as I've already explained, these two synergize in a symbiotic relationship with each other. The tier set this season will further enhance that. As you can see, therefore, it is already included in the rotation I've shown you, but just to be aware, that is actually what it's doing. And that's it, guys. That is how you're going to play Windwalker Monk in Season 4 of Dragonflight. I hope you found this enjoyable and learned something from it. If you do have any more questions, of course, do feel free to join the Discord. We're happy to help any beginners, etc., of any questions you may have. You can join the Patreon, like I said, if you want to get this UI or get some other resources like simming guides, log guides, and things like that. I have actually got all written beginner guides for you on how to do those things for your character. And if you're looking for other monk or other specs, then click this playlist here where I've got all of the Season 4 PvE guides waiting for you.